What's up, guys? I have seen the new Superman trailer about 50 times now, so I want to talk about it. Let's go. What's up, guys? Like I said in the intro, I saw the Superman trailer. Here's the thing. I didn't get a chance to do a reaction because I was at work when the trailer debuted. Woe is me. And then after I got out of work, I had other obligations. And so I just literally could not carve out a minute of time to react to this trailer. And I thought, damn, do I even bother giving my opinion when there's been like 4,000 videos out there that you guys have probably seen? And then I thought, why am I doing YouTube in the first place? To talk about what I want to talk about. And if 30 people click on this video, that's fine. If you want to talk about something, don't worry about if other people want it. Just do it. Just enjoy it. Because I'm a Superman fan. I'm a massive, massive Superman fan. He holds a very special place in my heart. The very first movie I ever saw in the theater was Superman 2. And that movie it set the course for me being a movie fan from that point on. I think it was 79, 1980, 81, somewhere around there. I remember I was like 6 years old, I think, when I saw it. Of course, I didn't know all the drama behind the scenes. I didn't know that Richard Donner had made the movie alongside the first movie at the same time, and then they had to bring in Richard Lester because Donner was fired. I didn't know all that stuff. I just knew that this movie that I was watching that had some slapstick qualities about it, but I loved it because I was, I didn't know anything about Superman. Superman was my very first comic book hero. I fell in love with the guy. I wanted to be Superman. I thought Superman was like the greatest, like the penultimate that you could ever achieve. Anytime they make a Superman movie, I am there day freaking one, and I'm usually extremely pumped, extremely excited. He's still to this day, I think, tied for number one with the Hulk. Those two have, and I think it's just because of my childhood. Those were like the first two, besides Spider-Man, that I was introduced to when I was young. And they've pretty much stayed my favorite ever since. And it just so happens they both happen to be two of the strongest superheroes out there. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Maybe the 6-year-old kid in me wanted to be the strongest man in the world. I don't know. So, you know what? I watched Man of Steel. I was thinking about watching Superman the movie or Superman 2, but I thought, you know what? Let's go current and watch Man of Steel. I've always loved Man of Steel. It is probably one of my favorite superhero films. And I figured I'd dust it off and give it a fresh watch last night before taking my notes for this new trailer. And holy shit, Man of Steel is so freaking good. And I did see some comments. It feels like people these days, they feel like they need to choose a side. And if I really like this Superman trailer, then I have to push aside Man of Steel or make fun of it or something like that. Or, there's a lot of people that don't like Zack Snyder and they didn't like it in the first place. That's fine. But I did see some people, they felt like they had to compare the two and they had to pick a side, right? Now I don't, that's rubbish. I don't like Man of Steel because this new one's going to be the second coming. It's amazing. And it can do no wrong. And that's, that's the mentality these days. We like to compare everything and then we like to pick a side. And you can like both, guys. Just so you know, you can go into this movie loving the hell out of it, and you could still enjoy Man of Steel for what it is. And it's, if anything, it's just a different version of the story. And I've heard people state that Man of Steel, yeah, it's dark, and there's no sense of hope in the movie. And I call bullshit. There is plenty of hope in that movie if you choose to watch it and really pay attention to what's going on. I even posted a little thing on Instagram last night as I was watching Man of Steel, and there was one scene where it literally made me tear up when when Perry White is trying to help the girl out of the rubble, and you see Superman knowing that he's probably beaten. He's got the I can't remember what the ship is that's beaming down to the earth and destroying everything, and I guess getting it ready for Kryptonians. I know the name of the thing, but every time I record, it's like my brain just falls out of my head and I can't remember anything. But that scene where you got Superman, he just got through fighting the freaking Matrix things, and then he's trying to fly up and destroy that thing. And he just gets more strong and more powerful. And I almost welled up as I was watching it, because Superman cares so much about the people of Earth. He even mentions that to Zod, Krypton had its day. I believe in the people of Earth. You know, that's hope, guys. But I'm not going to talk too much more about Man of Steel. I think you know what I think about it. I'm not like a Snyder boy or anything like that. But I do love his trilogy. I love Batman v Superman, Ultimate Cut. I love his Justice League. A good movie is a good movie. That's just what I call it. You want to call me a Snyder boy? Go ahead. I don't care. But I just happen to like those movies. And you're not wrong if you don't like those movies, okay? Because movies are art. Now, jumping into the Superman 2025 trailer, man, I really got the goosebumps when I was watching this trailer. I think James Gunn is really trying to recapture the spirit of the Christopher Reeve Superman era, even down to the suit, even down to like the color palette and all that. You know, I do like that it's a little brighter. Thinking back to like Superman Returns, I hated the color palette in that because it had like kind of a baby bluish type tinge. This looks like, I think, the best color palette for a Superman movie. If I had to pick apart anything about Man of Steel, the suit was definitely a little bit too dark. Although I still like, you know, fabric-wise, I much prefer that suit over this suit. I think this suit looks a little too bulky. But I think the lesson here is that it doesn't matter what the Superman suit looks like. What matters is the message and the story, and how the movie's directed and all that, you know. So this movie, yeah, we might not like the suit, but at the end of the day, if we got a great freaking movie, it's not going to matter anyway. And I love James Gunn. I like how eccentric he is as a director. I love how he really enjoys characters, and every one of his properties, his movies, even if you don't really jive with them that much, you're going to remember them because of the characters that he creates. Now, he does like to introduce a kaiju-looking creature at the end of, it seems like, every one of his movies. And this is no exception. The kaiju's in there, but that'll be cool to see Superman fight. Oh, guys, one thing I forgot to mention is John Williams' iconic score, that little guitar intro that they used there at the beginning. Man, I have mixed thoughts on that because his score is, you know, it's kind of the fabric, I guess, of Superman. If you look at it kind of in a James Bond type way, and that James Bond theme, it can cross over to every different iteration of James Bond. You could technically say that with Superman, but then here comes Man of Steel with Hans Zimmer's completely different, unique, and more emotional type of score, and it works for that property. And I don't know if Williams' score would have worked for Man of Steel. So I think for this particular brand of Superman, I think James Gunn's going the right direction by using the iconic score. And that doesn't mean that the entire score is going to be made up of John Williams' score. I'm sure James Gunn will have his own little touches in there as well. But boy, it was perfect for that trailer, wasn't it? Just, I mean, goosebumps all the way. So I'm not against it, for sure. Now, I did do some research on some of the villains because I'm not a comic reader, and I do like that we're introducing some new characters in the Superman comics to this movie, because we always get the same old. We get Lex Luthor, we get Zod and his henchmen, which I do love when Superman fights Zod, because that's someone of equal strength. But this one looks cool because you got freaking guy Gardner coming in here, who took over for Hal Jordan, but you couldn't pick a better guy to play him, Nathan Fillion, because he just has a really cocky attitude, the character himself. And I think Nathan Fillion, if you've seen Serenity, I love the way he portrayed that character in Serenity and the Firefly show. The haircut is silly, but it's from the comics as well. So yeah, I think Guy Gardner's going to be a great addition, a great character for this movie. Anthony Carrigan as Metamorpho. As soon as I saw Anthony Carrigan, I was all over this, because if you've seen Barry, and I've seen the show Barry multiple times, he is easily one of the best characters of that show. He plays Hank, and he's just so odd and eccentric and even like funny looking, like weird looking. And I think he's going to be a great addition to this too. Skylar Gisondo as Jimmy Olsen. There is no other actor that is like perfectly casted for Jimmy Olsen than Skylar. He's been bouncing around in everything lately. He plays that type of character in just about everything, but he does it so freaking well. He just looks like that type of character. And us horror fans, we remember him from Rob Zombie's Halloween. actually. He played young Tommy Doyle. Then you got one of the most important side characters, Edie Gathegi, as Mr. Terrific. He's supposed to be one of the smartest characters in the DC Comics, and that's where his skill comes in for this movie. He does have some gadgets that give him superpowers, but other than that, I think he's mostly human. But he's the leader of this group that is there to, I believe, help Superman in this movie. So is the main villain going to be Lex Luthor? And he's probably the one that comes up with this freaking kaiju creature. But I'm sure there'll be some surprises in store for us too. So I was a little worried about having so many superhero characters in the movie. But I think it all comes down to how it all plays out. Thinking about the Guardians of the Galaxy, that's a lot of characters. But man, does James Gunn know how to deal with characters and create a really good story around those. Rachel Brosnahan as Lois. I could just freaking gush about every actor or actress that he has cast in this movie because they're just all really talented. And I'm a big fan of Rachel. I've seen House of Cards, and she's really great in that show. And she's been in a lot of other things. But I think she's like the perfect Lois, actually. And then lastly, David Corenswet. He definitely looks a lot like Henry Cavill. But I think he's going to have his own little stamp on Superman. And, that scene with him and Crypto, which, by the way, little white, furry, fluffy dogs are going to skyrocket in value. And I'm going to be holding this guy for his life to make sure that he is safe, little Levi, because he does look like Crypto. And I probably would have named him Crypto if I didn't get him 15 years. He's almost 15 years old. But yeah, little Levi, he's going to be a hot commodity after this movie, aren't you, buddy? Mwah. So yeah, guys, that's my long-winded thoughts about the Superman trailer. If you stayed this long, thank you so much. Again, I thank you for watching. I know you've watched so many Superman videos. This is one more that you got to get through. You don't have to, but yeah. Thank you for watching, guys. So much freaking content coming your way. Right after this, I'm going to be recording or attempting to record 4 top 10s for the end of the year. It's always busy in Drumdum land at this time of year. So thank you all for watching. Be sure to come over to Killer Flicks where we talk horror all day and every day on Fridays, Rudy Free for Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on my socials. Support me on Patreon. Become a channel member. Buy me a coffee. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day and Drumdum out.